forward on this. So with our topic of conversation, the big thing that you want to start off with when you start off with time blocking is priorities. So last week you guys were all challenged to decide. Hi, Hub. Last week you guys were challenged to find your top 5 priorities. So I'd like if you guys can share those.
Okay, I got 3.
Okay.
I didn't quite get 5, but my top 3, I wrote them down. My chronic pain clinic appointments with my active rehab and that. The time with my kids. And then I think it was my classes.
Okay.
Because I have to be there for those. They're kind of important.
Yes,
I think that was my top 3.
Okay.
So that's the story here in hell. Back to you on the boat.
All right, Trish?
Mine were definitely my kids and their schedule, and that was all I got because I don't know what my top 5 priorities are.
Okay, so and that's the big challenge. Matt, do you have your priorities?
Family, work, the club. Those are the top 3 anyway.
Okay. So I'm going to challenge you guys on priorities. Because there's things, so you guys all pick the things that you have on your calendar that you know need to get done. Like Valissa was like, I have to get to my classes. Those are priority, right? So, but are they what fulfills you at the end of the day? Running 3 classes and going to bed without seeing your kids for the day, are you going to feel fulfilled? Right? So your priorities are not, and Trish, you mentioned your kids' schedule, right? Being a taxi driver, in my opinion, would not be a priority, right? Having quality time with my kids where I'm engaged with them would be a priority, right? Matt, pretty sure Jeff's not a priority in your life. It's something.
No, but work and making money.
Making money. Okay. So, but it's
a roof over my family's head
okay.
is a priority.
Okay. So that's providing, right?
Yes.
Because you can provide in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I need to be able to provide for my family, right? And so having that distinction of your priorities allows you to time block your time. Because if your number one goal is your family, right? If your number one priority is time with my family, and you want to be able to provide for them, your difference in, and then you need to decide what providing is, right? But your difference in where you schedule your time versus getting a job that you work at 22 hours a day, and then you have no time with your family, but you provide, right? So it's really, you need to identify what your priorities are, right? So for me, my number one priority is my personal health. Because I know at the end of the day, if I didn't sleep and get a workout, I'm a bitchy person to my kids. And that's, and Matt, right? So my number one priority is I got to take care of me. I have to take care of me. I have to make sure that's put in there. I have to take that 10 minutes to get my meals set for the next morning. Sunday afternoons, we spend 4 hours cleaning the house and doing meal prep because we know that come tomorrow, my personal health has to be a priority. My number two personally is my church. Because I know when I'm disconnected with my soul, I can't focus. And Matt can attest to that, that when we get distant, we get totally distant. And then everything just becomes a big cluttered mess, right? So for me, that's my personal, whatever, like my personal beliefs are my number two. My number three would be time with my family. And why is it number three? Is because if I am in a shitty mood and don't feel good about myself, and then I'm disconnected from my soul, is my time with my family going to be quality? No, it's not, right? Number four would be then my relationships. With my friends, like with the people in my life, right? And that's, again, that comes to my clients, that comes to my besties, that comes to my cousins, right? Like next week, we've got a big family thing in Ponoka. And you know what? It's a priority for me to be there. It's a priority to me. We make it work, that we've got everything figured out, that a meal prep is done the day before or whatever, so that we can go to Ponoka and spend that time with my cousins, right? And then number 5 for me is an organized life. I just spent 2 hours mopping the floor for a reason, because I was done with it, because I couldn't, I was done with it. It's gotta go, right? So it's number 5. It doesn't, I can get it, I can let it go for a long way, but there's a certain point where the log gets laid down. And I think it was all weekend we talked about it. It was like Sunday, we gotta like take care of the house. Like we gotta get this stuff caught up, right? So does that make you guys understand priorities a little bit more? I muted you, Melissa, because it got really loud there. So if you're talking to us, sorry.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, it was loud because of my kids. I wrote mine down, and now I can't find them. So I'm really not sure what the number 3 was. But, I mean, when I put, like, quality, like, it was quality time with other stuff being involved.
Yeah.
So, like, that's something that is super important to me, because I finally get to do that, and, like, that's, like, the whole point of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that I have time for me is important, and I didn't really think of that prior, so that's probably
And this is a process, you guys.
gonna be like definitely on my list.
Yep. And so in this process, just like the muscle we work when we consistently create vision boards, this is the same process, right? So you always want to be thinking of your priorities. What are my priorities in my life that fulfill me, that fill my cup so that I can be overflowing to give to other people? Because if your priorities aren't in line, you spend all of your time taking on all of these other tasks, and at the end of the day, you're not satisfied. At the end of the day, you're depleted. At the end of the day, you feel drained and exhausted and overwhelmed, because you're not spending the time doing things you want to do, right? And those couple months that I took off from the gym because I was too busy doing other things, it definitely affected me a lot. And it just gave me that really big slap in the face reminder of your priorities have to be in focus and in place. So when it comes to time blocking, that's why your priorities are so important, because it helps you identify as to where your time should be spent. Okay, so when I look at my calendar for the week, the number 1 thing I put in are my commitments, right? So the commitments, they're not a priority, but they're things I'm already committed to. So for Melissa, your classes at your club, those got to go in there, right? So first thing I do is I schedule in on my calendar, I write down, I fill in all the spots that I know are already taken. Does that make sense? Okay, and so you fill that in. So for me, my Mondays, the club schedule goes in, the fit club schedule goes in, my swimming lessons go in, things that I'm committed to, right? Matt would be Monday to Friday, 6 to 6. He's at work, right? So he doesn't, is there a possibility to squeeze other things in there? Yes, but reality is that's got to be scheduled first, because he can't not show up to work, right? It's not a priority, but it's something that we're already committed to. Does that make sense? So I fill in all of those commitments first and foremost. Next, I look at my number 1 priority. When is my personal health? When am I going to the gym? So now that I have all my commitments in there, that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I'm at the club from 6 to 11, right? So then I look at my schedule. Matt and I talk about our schedule. Guess when my personal health comes in? 4 o'clock in the morning, we go to the gym. Why? Because it's a priority. Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning so that I can get to the gym and make sure that I've taken care of me before anything else happens in the day, it's fulfilling. There's days that we're just like, holy crap, I'm tired. But at the same time, we're like, nope, this is our goal. This is what we want. This takes care of us. And we get up and we go to the gym. Does that make sense? Next one is my church. So guess what goes in there? Sunday. Right after boot camp, we're at the club. Today we're at the club from 8 till 10. We came home, we grabbed a baby, we threw her in the car, we went to church because it was a priority. It wasn't, okay, well, I guess, we'll just slack. We won't go today because we didn't get out of the club till 10:15. We walked into church 5 minutes late and we went. But it was important to us, right? Number 3 is time with my family. What did we do after church? We went and we did groceries. We went and did errands, and then we went and spent an hour with my in-laws. We went and had lunch with my in-laws. Taylor got to play babies with her cousin. We spent an hour there because we knew that there was other things that had to get done, like meal prep, and the house had to get cleaned.
And we can only handle 1 hour.
And we can only handle 1 hour. But it's a priority for us to go there and connect. It is, right? Yesterday at the Santa Claus thing, Mom and Dad were in the next hall. We took the lunch break, and instead of going and eating, I went and visited them in the next hall for 10 minutes. Gave them big hugs, asked how their booth was doing, all that kind of stuff, right? Because my dad does scroll sawing. So I wanted to go and let them know that I cared, right? And so do you guys see how those priorities fit into the time blocking? Does that make sense? So I put in my personal health. I put in my church. I put in time with my family. Friday nights are pretty much always blocked out for my kids. I do my very best not to. This upcoming Friday, we're doing baking with my family. My sister's coming over. The kids were all going to bake together. It was a thing that got blocked in there, right? So Friday nights, I know generally we try and keep free because that's when we get our kids. So I don't block things in there. I leave it open, okay? And then relationships with my family, that's when I do my follow-up. That's when I go and I contact my my friends, my bestie. We make time for coffee for each other. We go for walks. And then being organized, right? So being organized for me falls in just in the fact of time blocking. So number 1, you schedule in your commitments. So we've got your guys' goal is, I'm going to challenge you guys all that you post your schedule by tomorrow, okay? So number 1 is scheduling commitments. Okay, so if you have pre-existing commitments like doctor's appointments and this and that, those will go in there, right? So your chronic pain clinic, that would go in there. Melissa, I know it's a priority for you to get there because it helps you, but I don't think it's a priority at the end of the day that necessarily leaves you fulfilled in yourself and feeling like you've accomplished things. Does that make sense?
Well, it kind of does.
Okay.
Because the goal of it is to help me deal with my pain better, so hopefully someday I can stop taking pills. So it's actually supposed to help me work on myself, to help me work with my pain on a better level.
Yep.
And I schedule other stuff around it because I have to go, but the goal is that I can work better and deal better with my pain, which is probably going to be here. So I think it's kind of enough that it's up there. Like my regular doctor appointments aren't, but these ones are just more important.
Okay. And so then you guys, once you've got your health scheduled, like your commitments, and then your priorities scheduled in so that you know that you're getting fulfilled, right? So personal development, right? My personal health includes my personal development. That gets scheduled in there too. Nutrition gets scheduled in there. Meal prepping, making sure that I have my meals set up for the day, doing my meal plan. Those are all things that to me are more important, right? Those have to come first and foremost because making sure that they're taken care of, guess what that gives me time to do while I sit in a waiting room? Do my 5 invites on Facebook, right? So let's say you can sit there in that waiting room at your chronic pain clinic and do your DMO. Right? It's not scheduling it's scheduling your priorities and then fitting the rest of your life into that. It's not fitting your priorities around your things. Does that make sense? Okay, so schedule your commitments. Make sure your priorities are taken care of. And then schedule in your work. Schedule everything else in there. So Taylor gets on the bus at 12:01. What do you think I do between 12:01 and 3:30? Wellness profiles, follow-up, DMO, all of it. Because I have 3 hours while my daughter's at school and I make sure that all gets tackled, right? When she didn't go to school, that was generally, I did it in the afternoon anyways, because that would be the time that she would either be napping or down for, or out with, you know what I mean? We could do things where she would be, that was movie time because it was the afternoon. But things like invites happen when I go and pick her up from school, right? I don't necessarily schedule invites. I make an intention that they get done. If I don't have them done by the end of the day, I stop at No Frills on my way home. If I leave Fit Club at 8 o'clock at night and I haven't got my 10 invites done, I stop at No Frills and I make sure I get them out, right? And so I don't, and then we plan events around it. But my invites, I don't sit there and block out 20 minutes to do invites. I do block out an hour generally a day to do like social media follow-up. So that's going through the pages, that's returning emails. I make sure that I've got that time blocked out. But things like invites, those I do just on the fly all the time. And then my follow-up and my DMO, I schedule into in between my priorities and my previous commitments. But it's making sure your priorities are taken care of first, because everything else falls into place after that. When you're willing to make sure that you've taken care of what matters most, you'll find that you actually have all of the time in the world. But when you're investing your time into things that don't fulfill you, you'll consistently feel overwhelmed and behind because you're not satisfied. You're not taking care of you, which means you feel depleted. Does that make sense? I know I can personally agree that I have been there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you guys have any questions? No? Okay. So
I know what you just said. I'm personally there right now.
you feeling depleted and overwhelmed?
Yep.
Yep. And Trish, I'm going to challenge you to really find your priorities, because the priority you gave us is your kid's schedule. And from a mom, I'm like, that sounds like a taxi driver to me. And I don't think you want to be a taxi driver.
No, I don't. But there's no other way for my kids to get to school, so I have to be that person.
Yes, but you can do a lot more in your life than be a taxi driver.
That's very true.
Right? And so that's where you need to take some time and do that self-reflection and be like, hey, what is important to you? What at the end of the day do you wish you'd gotten done?
I've struggled with that my entire life. So for me to try and figure that out like overnight and schedule it in for tomorrow is like, I don't know what's important to me. Like I've lost my way for like, it seems like forever. So I think that's part of the reason why I've taken a step back as far as I have, as much as I hate that I've had to do that. I also feel like I'm a little bit stronger for myself right now, but I still have to figure out my priorities and everything.
So can we all support you and ask for a timeline on that? Because I hear someone that really doesn't want to be where they are anymore. Right? And that you're struggling and you're feeling lost. And I'm pretty sure I can speak for all of us on the line right now that we don't want to see you there, that we want to see you really taking those steps and being fulfilled and being excited and being like living, not just, what word am I looking for? Not just existing. I want you to live, Trish. And so I think but the longer that you say, this is just the way I always am, you're going to continue to be stuck in that circle. But you have to be willing to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take on this homework. I'm going to find some priorities. And if you can put that into action, guess what? You can always change it. Your priorities don't have to stay what you think they are. But if you can put it into action and start making forward steps in it, you'll find that you'll get more and more and more confident and more strength in it.
Sorry, I'm like crying right now. I don't even know where to begin with it. And yes, I'm not being fulfilled and I don't know what makes me happy anymore.
So I'm going to challenge you to write a list of 100 things.
100 things of what?
100 things that Trish likes to do.
I could probably give you 2 right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to challenge you to write 100.
Okay.
Write 100.
Duke.
Pardon my dog. 100 things of what Trish likes to do. Trish likes to bake. Trish likes to find new recipes. Trish likes to what else does Trish like to do? Trish likes to wear
I what?
likes to wear sunglasses.
Sunglasses. I like to paint and be creative and crafty.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I have no idea.
So that's where
Oh, you could put that in your schedule.
yep.
You could block out time to be crafty and paint or some sort of craftiness.
And you could do it with your kids too. Look at that.
Okay.
How great would that feel that once a week you made art with your kids?
I did last night. I did crafts with my kids last night, and it was like the best feeling in the world. Because it started off with me telling them a story about what we were doing and why. And that was awesome.
So I'm challenging you to write 100, and don't overthink it. Just write 100 things that Trish likes to do. 100 things that you like to do. You like to go for fondue. You like to hang out with friends. You like to have time away from your kids. You like, you know what I mean? Like, just, Trish likes to go grocery shopping by herself. You know what I mean? There's 100 things that Trish likes to do. And in that process, you're going to find, you'll be able to either see it yourself or share with others, and they'll be able to take an outside perspective and see your priorities inside of that list. Because that list is going to show you what's important to you. Because it's what you like to do.
Okay.
Okay. So can you write, you got a week. You got a week to write 100 things.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Done. All right. And Melissa?
Follow up with me in a couple days.
What? Yes.
Can you please make sure you follow up with me in a couple days to make sure I'm on it?
You got it. Follow up with Trish. 100 things of awesome.
What were you going to say to me?
Are you ready to do your time blocking? Can you send us a picture of your schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
I need a little bit to add a couple things in, because my list changed as we were talking. So, yeah. So yeah, I just need to add some stuff in because I've been trying to make sure I'm using my phone more often. Otherwise, I forget appointments, and I can't really forget appointments.
Yep.
So I just have to make sure that everything is in it, and then I can snap a picture and send it.
So Tuesday?
Yeah, by the latest.
Okay.
Because I gotta decorate cookies with my kids. So.
Family time. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll finish filling in my schedule. You just want it on like the 18th?
Yep.
Okay.
And you, sir?
What?
Can you post your priorities and your time blocking? Or are you on the 100 things of what Matt likes to do? Which homework would you like to take on?
I'm probably on 100 things right now.
Okay. So Trish and Matt are doing 100 things of what they like to do, and Juanita and Melissa are posting their time blocking by Tuesday.
Done.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm so excited. Any feedback? Anything you guys want to share before we call her a call? Awesome. Okay. No. So I'm going to post this recording. Let's make sure all of our team, because I think even with the 4 of us on here, there's some really great information that everyone can take from. So tag your team and ask them which homework they're taking on. So if they still need to understand where their priorities are, the 100 things of what they like to do, or if they're ready to take the next step, they can post their time blocking. And again, this is a process.
Okay.
It does not have to be perfect. Don't expect it to be perfect, because perfection does not exist. This is a process of growth. And in the effort of trying and taking action, you will grow and you'll find new things about yourself. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Okay, you guys, have an absolutely great evening, and we will see you all on the pages. And if you need support in anything, always reach out, post either on any of the pages or just give me a call. I'm always here.
Awesome.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.